Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia, your host for Entertainment Pipeline. And once again, some news, real news, it looks like, concerning Star Wars Episode VII, the J.J. Abrams directed sequel that will be released sometime in 2015, presumably around Christmas. So, the new information out there about Star Wars Episode VII is, and I had kind of figured this before, as for those of you who follow my show on YouTube, and I had indicated this was more than likely the case. The film Star Wars Episode VII, Lucasfilm and Disney now have just announced that it will take place 30 years after Return of the Jedi. Now that makes sense concerning, or rather because of, the casting presumably of Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, all of whom uh, has been rumored they will do a reprise of their roles. Whether or not they will has not actually been officially confirmed. But what we can say for sure is that the film will take place 30 years after the Return of the Jedi. So, of course, that would fit the ages of the original trio from the Star Wars trilogy from 30 plus years ago. Hard to believe that Return of the Jedi came out in 1983, a film I had seen in theaters, and that was 30 years ago. It's strange how time flies. So, and new characters are, of course, likely to uh, uh, be part of the story for the next Star Wars. Now, there has been, of course, as many of you know, casting rumors. Insanity, just so many. The latest was about Lupita Nyong'o, who appeared in 12 Years a Slave, rumored to be discussing getting a role. The list goes on. The newest is Adam Driver from the HBO show, I think it's HBO, Girls. And he's been named as a likely candidate to play a villain in Star Wars Episode VII. But naturally, none of the casting information has actually been confirmed just yet. As a matter of fact, I heard, and I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, that old Lando Calrissian, that is Billy D. Williams, the actor dressed up as Lando, did a little Star Wars thing on Dancing with the Stars. Him dressed in the actual costume as Lando, with a couple of stormtroopers on board, as well as R2-D2. So, you know, who knows? Now, interestingly, coming from this blog site called TheVerge.com, they did mention, and I kind of forget this because for various reasons, I'm not as huge a Star Wars fan as I used to be, but nonetheless, May 4th is Star Wars Day, which I tend to forget. May the Force be with you, the 4th be with you. And San Diego Comic-Con is coming up, so naturally, in both of these days, I'm sure we'll hear some big announcements. In May, they're going to start shooting at Pinewood Studios in London, which of course is really where previous Star Wars films had been shot. And one of the things was that in January 20th, the script was actually complete. So the shoot is expected to last from May to September. And other than that, there's really been no confirmation about who's going to be in it or what the story is going to be about, except, which I had pretty much thought was going to be the case, it will take place, the sequel, 30 years after Return of Jedi. That's all there is, folks. And as far as Harrison Ford returning and this rumor of him negotiating to be in 2 more Indiana Jones movies shot back to back, if in fact he gets that role, or if that is, he wants a reassurance, so he will do Star Wars Episode VII only if. That hasn't really been confirmed either, nonetheless. So really nothing has been confirmed as far as casting or story, but we can safely say it will take place 30 years after Return of the Jedi. And as I said earlier, I am not as big a Star Wars fan. I mean, I of course will see the new one, there's no question about it. But I was a big fan when Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980, and then I was waiting for years to see where the story was going to take us after that, how they were going to finish it, never imagining there were going to be more Star Wars films after Return of Jedi. But Return of the Jedi, which is, you know, a fine movie, but nowhere near the first two. So that made me less of a fan. And then, of course, I became more of an Indiana Jones fan than a Star Wars fan. So there. But anyway, leaving all that aside, I guess we could say Star Wars Episode 7, 30 years. The events of this new movie will take place after 30 years after Return of the Jedi. And that's about it. This is Jerry the Movies with your host of the Entertainment Pipeline and the never-ending stories that will circulate for months to come, I'm sure, about Star Wars Episode 7. Signing off.